it's Dorothy Guining with Scrapbooking Quebec. Today I'm here for the Scrapbook Nerd online shop, and I'm going to be creating a 12 by 12 layout featuring the Maggie Holmes Market Square collection. I'm going to be making my own pattern paper by piecing together different prints. This is a fun and easy technique that can create a really dynamic look. It's also a great way to use up scraps and leftovers. Here are the supplies I'll be using, mostly from the Market Square collection. I also threw in some wood grain paper from Simple Stories. That's from the Woods collection. And the last time I checked, the Scrapbook Nerd was well stocked with both of these collections, so I will link up the shop as well as the products I use in the description box below. So without further ado, let's get started. And the only thing I did in advance was mat 3 photos with black cardstock. So I have a bunch of pattern paper here, mostly from the Market Square collection, except that wood grain paper. And my plan is to piece it together to create a pattern paper. For this technique, you need a piece of paper that you don't mind covering up, so just find yourself something that you don't like. In this tray, I have stickers, cut-apart sheets, ephemera, all of my embellishing, and I am going to be using 2 stamp sets from Elizabeth Craft Designs, and I will talk about those later in the process. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut down a bunch of 12-inch strips of paper in different sizes, and I don't have a real plan here at this point. What I do know is that wood grain paper has to accommodate my photos, but the other ones, what I'm looking for here are different widths. That's it. And later on, once I play around with these strips of paper, I will put measurements on the screen, but right now I just am cutting them wider than I plan to use them. So what I'm going to do right now is try to find a pattern with these papers that I like. So that's what you see me doing right now. And like I mentioned, I know the wood grain paper is going to accommodate my photos. The wide strip at the top has to accommodate most of my embellishing and a large title. And that gold floral strip towards the bottom is going to accommodate a row of hearts. So all I'm going to do at this point is adhere the strip of paper to the top of the page, to the bottom of the page, and I will also adhere the photos to that wood grain paper. The other ones I'm going to leave loose because I'm going to want to play around with the embellishments, notably the title, because I know it's going to be big, as well as those punched out hearts that you're going to see me do in a moment. And once I know the size of those elements, then I will make a decision and adhere the rest of the strips to the page. So in a moment, I'm going to get out my title. And what I'm going to be doing for this is a technique I do like to do is cutting out letters with my Big Shot with alpha dies, then overlapping it with thickers. You'll see what I mean in a moment. My title is going to be Chez Victor, so that's the name of a neighborhood restaurant. And I cut out the word Chez in big dies. They are old retired ones from Stampin' Up. And you can see I have the word Victor. Those are foam alphas. Those are from a collection called Twilight. I will put them in the list below. So those are on wax paper, and you can see how I want to overlap them. If this is a technique that interests you, and if you are interested in alpha dies, the Scrapbook Nerd has lots of them. So just check out their dies section if you're curious. Now what I'm going to do is cut out a bunch of hearts, but what I'm going to do is cut them out in the very same pattern paper where I will be placing them. So I'm cutting out 7 hearts. That's about a 1.25 inch heart. I'll write the measurement on the screen. And basically I'm cutting out 7 of them. I won't make you watch all of that. I'm also going to cut them out in cardstock because I plan to pop them up on foam adhesive. So the idea with these hearts isn't really to create an embellishment. It's more like creating texture on the page, and you'll see what I mean in a moment. So now I have my title there placed. I have all of my hearts. They are all backed in cardstock, and I'm going to place them along this strip. you will definitely get a better look at the very end of this video at what this tone on tone effect looks like. It does have a nice subtle effect, but like I mentioned, it's more like texture than an embellishment cluster. So once I know the size of my title and the size of that row of hearts, now I can adhere all of these strips to the page. So there you have it. The measurements are there. Keep in mind, mine are bigger than what the measurements are written on the screen. What I do is I overlap. So everything there is bigger than the measurement listed except the wood grain paper that accommodates the photos. If you want to do what I'm doing, you could cut the measurements that are listed on the screen and add, I don't know, maybe a half an inch to it, except for the wood grain paper. So now I'm all settled. I'm adhering all of this down, and I'm going to first adhere that row of hearts to the bottom of the page. So when I do that, I want them equally spaced across that strip of paper. And when I go to adhere them in a moment, you're going to see I just kind of eyeball it. I don't really get a ruler out. I start by placing the heart in the middle of the page. Then I do one on the far right and on the far left, or in the opposite order, I forget. And then what I will do is in between each spot, I will position 2 more hearts. And then I pop them all up on foam adhesive. Once that's down, I am going to leave that title loose for the time being because I want to play around with my embellishment clusters. And like I mentioned earlier, most of my embellishing is going to happen in that area in the top. It's more or less the top quarter of the page. So what you'll see me do once I finish adhering these hearts is get out all of my embellishing. So I have ephemera pieces. I have a cut apart sheet that I cut apart for a previous project from this Market Square collection. And I also have stickers. Now basically I'm going to be creating 2 main clusters here, one around the title and one kind of bumped up on the left where my journaling box will go. So what I have here is I have like a restaurant check, which is from the cut apart sheet, which is great, except later on you're going to see it gets dropped. I have an ephemera piece that says little things make big magic, which is kind of what my story's about. I have the number 21, it's the year 2021, and I end up putting a few stickers on wax paper and kind of placing them. I'm going quickly here because I did encounter technical difficulties, and the part where I adhere it, the embellishments and the title, ends up not being filmed. However, I adhere them exactly where I'm placing them right now. However, keep in mind at the end of the video, I end up tweaking this a bit, but I will talk you through that process. So what you're going to see now, it's all adhered, including my title. So what I want to do now is stamp out the word delicious food. And this is from a stamp set from Elizabeth Craft Designs called Vacate Phrases. I absolutely love it. And then what I'm going to do is take another stamp set from Elizabeth Craft Designs. This one's called Retro Labels. And I'm going to stamp a label right around what I stamped out already, the words. Now I do 2 because I think I may make a mistake, and sure enough I do, so I'm glad I did. I will fussy cut these out, super easy to fussy cut. They are just straight lines and angled corners. Now in the 2 embellishment clusters on that top band, there is a black and white flower in each one of them. So with this stamped out label here, it kind of completes a visual triangle. I'm going to be placing it kind of in the middle right in that row of photos to create a visual triangle with the black and white. So there I go, placing it right there. I'm really happy with it. This also kind of solidifies the theme of my page. This is me at a restaurant, and the other ephemera and embellishment pieces are all kind of general. So this has to do with delicious food, so it just is a little bit more theme specific, and I'm happy with that. So now all of this is down, and I do end up tweaking a few things around. So I end up moving the camera, that rips the journaling box. So then I move down that black and white flower. This is kind of what I do at the end of a process often, but you're going to see I end up doing it quite a bit more for this particular process, and I will walk you through that at the very end of this video. I do come in with some finishing touches, and I have these enamel dots. They are from the Holiday Magic collection from Pink Fresh Studio. I absolutely love them. I just ordered a second pack of them. They're like metallic enamel dots, really different. And some of them are gold and the others are silver, and there's like a matte finish. Really, really cool. So I put them in 3 spots, basically in the camera that's in and around that title cluster, in a flower that's over by the journaling box, and a little bit down beside that stamped out label that says delicious food. Now I'm pretty much done here, but I do want to walk you through some changes that I did, because when I went to do my journaling off camera, which is what I always do, I found that I did not have enough space to write my story. And when that happens, when I cheat on my story, I end up never being satisfied with my page. So you're going to see in a moment, my journaling box changes. Basically, what I did was I ended up cutting myself out a piece of graph paper from that Simple Stories Woods collection. The flip side is either lined paper or graph paper. I cut myself out a planner page with an Elizabeth Craft design die. I'll put it in the description box below. I use it all the time. Anyway, that gave me more room to do my journaling, but I had to move things around a little bit in that cluster in the top left. Because the journaling box was white, to me it made a nice connection to that stamped out image towards the bottom of the page. Because of that, I felt that the white and black flower that was in the title cluster needed to be more evident. So I ended up popping that up on foam adhesive. In doing so, I ruined a sticker that was there. I also kind of moved down the title a little bit. Once all that was done, the title, that is Chez Victor, the black in it, those black foam thickers were really standing out for me, and I wanted to solidify the visual triangle with the black as well. So I ended up adding 2 black elements, or 1 black element, to each of the other 2 clusters, down by that stamped out image, along with up beside the journaling box. So that is it. I showed you how I tweaked it at the end, and in fact, I'm actually quite happier with the results after I tweaked it. And the reason why I did it is because I didn't have enough room to do my journaling. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this process. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the Scrapbook Nerd YouTube channel, we would be absolutely thrilled if you did. The same thing for my channel, Scrapbooking Quebec. Don't forget to check out the Scrapbook Nerd online shop. They're getting new stuff all the time. In addition to beautiful collections like this Market Square collection, they are really well equipped in tools. I absolutely love that about this shop. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon on YouTube. Bye-bye.